go. So first one is just calculating what the area under the curve is based on the standard normal curve. So the standard normal curve looks something like a hill, if I have it look like this. And you have what's called a z-score. Whatever that number is, it tells you what the area to the left of that line is on the standard curve. Well, there's a whole lot of ways you guys can get that number. Way back when, before they had graphing calculators and all of that fun stuff, we used to have to look everything up in a table. So I've given you a copy of the table. Your table's two-sided. You have both the positive and the negative. And we'll look up a few things on there for fun, but we'll probably just use our calculators because it's easier. And then I'll also show you how to do it on the graphing calculator and on your Aleks calculator, so you know you can pick which way you like to do it the best. So, first one there, it says that we want to find if I have z is greater than negative 1.82. So, if I had my little hill and negative 1.82 is my z-score, what I'm trying to do is figure out what the area under that curve is. And so, let me figure out which calculator I did first. On my table here, the table says it's going to do the cumulative area to the left of your z-score. I thought I wrote that on the bottom. There it is. But I'm doing greater. That's what. I want to do greater. So I want to find this area here. My total area underneath that curve is 100%, or 1. So in this case, I have to do 1 minus that score. And so on this paper here, what you would do is you would look for negative 1.8 on this column here, and then the 2/100ths is on the end, and I marked that one for you on your paper so you could kind of see where it was at. And if you look at your table, if you have negative 1.8 and then the 2/100ths, it is 0.0344, right? So we would do 1 minus 0.0344, and if you punch that into your calculator, what do you end up with?
How do I get to
You hit to the
stat?
You do second function in mode to get back to your normal screen. So if you do 1 minus that 0.0344, you end up with we'll get to that. The P is what we looked up in the table. This number right here, I marked it for you on the table.
So what am I putting in the calculator?
You're just going to do the 1 minus 0.0344. And we're rounding it to 3 decimal places, so we're going to use 966, 0.966. So when you're using this table here, the one I printed out of the book, when you're looking up your number, you're looking the first 2 digits, negative 1.8, and then the third digit is up at the top, 0.2, and I circled that for you so you could see where it intersected. That's how that table works. Now keep in mind again, this does the area to the left of the curve. Since we were doing greater instead of less, that's why we had to do the 1 minus. On the second one, we'll just get to look the number up and be done. If we are using our Aleks calculator, it will make me erase what I wrote, but that's all right. On your Aleks calculator, notice right here, you have P of Z. Again, this is a less than. Since I really want to do a greater than, I'm going to do 1 minus. So on my Aleks calculator, I'm going to start with 1 minus, and then I'm going to do my P of Z is less than. And then I'm going to put my number in, negative 1.82. And if I hit equals, I should end up with the same number I got when I did it using my paper, right? If I'm going to use my graphing calculator to find that, we'll get you 10 different ways to get the same answer. On the graphing calculator, you are going to hit second, and then the VARS button. It says DISTR above it. And number 2 is your normal curve, standard normal curve. So we're going to hit number 2. Now here you're going to do your lower and your upper. Since I am doing, forgot what I was doing, greater I believe it was, but let me go back to my Word document. Since I am doing greater than negative 1.82, I'm going to start at negative 1.82 and basically go to infinity. So what you're going to type in for the lower one is the negative 1.82. For the upper one, to do infinity, what you do is you use the EE. The EE is right above the comma. So you do second function and hit the comma. And then you're going to put 99 in there. That just tells it to go to infinity. So you want to see E99 for your upper. If you hit enter, whoops, I got to hit enter a few times. The 0 and the 1 are going to just say 0 and 1. We're never going to change those. And I don't even know what the paste is for. But once you hit enter on there enough times, it does the calculation, and you should end up with that 0.966 that we did the other way. So second, and then the bars key, and then number 2. Oh, yours is a little different than this calculator. You're going to do the lower to the upper, so you're going to put the negative 1.82, comma, and then you're going to do second EEE, so second, comma again, 99. Tells it to go to infinity. Close your parenthesis. And so it looks something sort of like that. You don't have to have that on there, I don't believe. Hit enter. Oh, no, maybe you do. Here's is an old calculator. Well, let's go to the end of that and try it again. Or try. Nope, nope, it's going to make us just start over. So let's just try it again. Second, there, 2. Okay, negative. Oh, maybe it didn't like that. Did you use this negative or this?
I don't remember.
Okay. Make sure we use the negative. I don't think you use the negative. I think you use the subtraction. That's probably what it didn't like. Put in your 1.82 again, comma, and then the second and the comma for the EE, 99, close your parenthesis, and enter. There we go. So on your graphing calculator, if you have one of the newer ones, it says upper and lower, but if you have one of the older ones, you put your lower number first, comma, the upper number, and then hit enter. All right, so on the next one, if I grab the paper. Now this one is doing a less than. So since this is less than and our paper does less than, all we're going to do is look up the number in the table. We want to look at the number that corresponds to negative 0.88. So what number do you get when you look for negative 0.88? Yep, and they're going to round it to 3 decimal places, so 0.18189, right? 189. Okay, that's how you do it on the table. If it's just the less than, you look up the number in the table. If we do the Aleks Calculator, same thing. Because the Aleks Calculator does a less than, we would just, I'm going to clear that, just do the P of Z. Notice it says P of Z is less than, and then we type our number in there. Negative 0.88 was it? And if we hit equals, we should get the same number we got when we looked the number up in the table, right? Getting that 0.189 there? Okay. If we're using our graphing calculator, now this one's going to be a little bit different because I'm going the other way. I'm going to do negative E99 for my lower because I'm going from negative infinity to my value. So negative 0.88. So you do second, your vars key, and then number 2. Clear that. Second vars, number 2. Your lower is going to be negative. Make sure you use the negative and not the subtraction key. And then you do the shift E99. Whoops, I got to hit the right buttons. Negative, shift E99, and then my upper is going to be negative 0.88. And again, just enter through if you have one of the newer calculators, and it should do your calculation. So shift, and then you do the comma to get your EE. Oh, you didn't do the shift. Hit the second function, and then the comma. There you go. And then the 99. And then comma. And then you're going to do the negative 0.88. And close your parentheses and hit enter. And it should give you the exact same value we did the other way, right? So you got 3 different ways to get the same answer. You can either look it up on the table, you can type it into the Aleks thing, or you can use the graphing calculator to come up with your number. The third one, now we're going to find the area between 2 numbers. If I'm going to find the area between 2 numbers, I'm going to find that bigger number and I'm going to subtract the smaller one. So if I'm using my table, this one I don't think I marked for you on your table, I might have, but I'm going to look up the number for the 2.20. Got to find the positive side. 2.20 is what number in your table? Whoops. Are you looking at the positive or the negative side? Oh, flip it over to the other side. We need the positive one. Right? Positive 2.20.
0.9783.
So 2.2, there we go, 0. That number right there. So that number is 0.986, right? Now we are going to subtract, or first of all, I'm going to look up my number, but I'm going to look up the number for the 1.10. So 1.10 would be what number in your table? Yep, we did the bigger number first, so we found the 2.20. Now we're going to look for the smaller number in our table, the 1.10. What number do you have in your table that corresponds with that?
$0.543.
You want 1.1. That's 0.1. 1.10. So first column there you get
0.8643.
0.864, right? We're going to round them off to 3 decimal places. So now we're going to subtract those two values. Once I find my two values in the table, then I'm going to subtract them. And you get yep, 0.122. All right, so if you use the table, you're going to look at the bigger number, look at the smaller number, subtract the two values. If we use the Aleks Calculator, same kind of process. I'm going to clear that out. I'm going to find the P of Z is less than the bigger number, which was the 2.20. Then I'm going to click outside that parenthesis because I'm going to subtract the P of the other one. P of Z of 1.10. Those were my two numbers. So on my Aleks Calculator, I'm just going to put it in like that. Area under the bigger number minus the area under the smaller number. And then when I hit equals, I should get the same answer I got when I did it the other way. Once I round it off to 3 decimal places, right? And probably the easiest way of doing it is on your graphing calculator. On your graphing calculator, because you just have to put the lower and the upper limits in, you just have to do like we did before. Second, bars, and number 2. And then you're just going to put the lower number and the upper number. So you're going to put the 1.10 first. And then your upper number was your 2.20. And once you calculate that out, should give you the same answer we got when we used the Aleks Calculator, right? Mm-hmm. All right. We're not going to do them all 3 ways, but that just gives you an option of different ways you can do them. And so just to make sure you got the right answers here, the first one, when we did the greater than 1, we got 0.966, which really means 96.6% was the area under my curve. The second one, we got 0.189, 18.9% was the area under my curve. And then on the last one, we got 0.122. Those were 3 answers we got on that one. All right. So, number 2 here. We want to find the area that is greater than negative 1.59. Since it's a greater than, I either have to do 1 minus that area, or if I use my graphing calculator, I'm going to go from negative 1.59 to positive infinity. So if you're using your Aleks calculator here, you're going to do 1 minus P of Z is less. Notice that says less and we want to find the greater. So we want to do the opposite. We got to do 1 minus that number. So negative 1.59. If you hit equal there, hopefully you get 0.944, right? If I'm going to do it on my graphing calculator again, I'm going to do my second VARS button, number 2. The lower is the starting number since I'm going greater, so I'm going to have negative 1.59. The upper would be my positive infinity, so shift comma to get the EE99. Whoops, Alex is saying, am I still there? And once I enter through that, I should get the same answer I got on my Aleks calculator. The 0.944, right? Getting the same answer both ways?
What's after? Okay, so I have 1.59, and then I do what?
You do the comma, and then second comma to get the EE99. And close your parentheses. And you get the same answer, right?
Yep.
So, on the graphing calculator, if I'm doing a greater than, I take my starting number and I go to positive infinity. If it's less than, I would start with negative infinity and go to the end number, which we'll do on the next one. So on the next one, if I go back to that one, this one we're doing less than. If it's a less than, on the Aleks calculator, you just punch it in just like it looks. So on my Aleks calculator, I'm just going to do the P of Z is less than and put my number in there, which is the 1.79. So if it's a less than, you just use the number. You get 0.963, right? If I'm going to do my graphing calculator, I'm going to do second, the DIST or the VARS button to get your distribution. You're going to do 2 again. Now this one we're doing less than, so we have to go from negative infinity to our number. So we're going to do negative, second function, comma, to get the E, 99, and then our upper number is the 1.79. And we should end up with the same number we did on our graphing calculator, right? Got the same number? No? So, you have negative. Oh, you got, it looks like we didn't get the comma in there. So, second VARS number 2, you did negative E99. I think you didn't put the comma in between. And then we're going to have our, what was that number supposed to be? 1.79. 1.79. Okay? So you got to make sure you put the comma in between. This one, if you're using this calculator, it says upper, lower, and then you don't have to worry about commas. But on the third one is the one where we did between two numbers. If we did between two numbers on the Aleks calculator, you started with the bigger one, you subtracted the smaller one. So on my Aleks calculator there, I would do P of Z is less than my bigger number, 1.95. Whoops. How about I get the right number in there? 1.95. And then I'm going to subtract the P of Z is less than my smaller number, which is negative 0.76, right? So it should look like that when you put it into the Aleks calculator. Bigger one minus the smaller one. If I hit equals, I get 0.75. I should probably round that up to 1, huh? 0.751. If I'm going to do it on the graphing calculator again, second function, VARS, number 2, here we just have to put in the lower number first and then the upper number second. So the lower number is our negative 0.76, comma, your upper number for yours on Leanne, and your upper number is the 1.95. And you should hopefully come up with the same answer.
Negative and then comma?
Nope, comma first. So you're going to do Yeah, that was your first number, negative 0.76, comma, and then 1.95. Close your parenthesis and hit enter. Okay, type her in and see if you get that. Whoops. Make sure you didn't do the whole thing. Clear that. You have to do your second function, bars, button, number 2. Now let's put our numbers in. Negative 0.76, comma, and then 1.95. Close parentheses and hit equals. Got the same answer, right? Okay. So on this second one here, just so you make sure you have the same answers. On the first one, we got 0.944. On the next one, we had 0.963. And on the last one, 0.751. Which means on this one, 94.4% of the area was under that curve. Here, 96.3%. Here, 75.1%. That's what those mean. All right, so third one here. You can decide. Do you want to do it on the Aleks calculator or do you want to do it on the other calculator? Aleks calculator. If I'm going to do it on the Aleks calculator, since I'm doing a greater than, I have to do what? Since I'm doing a greater than and the Aleks calculator does a less, what am I going to type in there? I have to do 1 minus that area. So I have to do 1 minus P of Z is less than or equal to 0.85 if I'm going to use my Aleks calculator. And we would come up with 0.198, yep. All right, so if it's a greater than, you have to do 1 minus that on the Aleks calculator. If it's less than, you're just going to do that number. So if it's a less than, we can just do P of Z is less than or equal to the 1.50 on the Aleks calculator and come up with our number. We get 0.933. All right. And if it's between two numbers on the Aleks calculator, we're going to do the big one minus the smaller one. So I have to do the P of Z is less than or equal to the 1.86 minus P of Z is less than or equal to negative 0.70. And if you do that, you get
0.86.
whoops. Take that in again. 1.86, yep. Click on the outside of that. And then put your subtract. Now do your other one. And then it's negative 0.70. Yep. It equals. Here we go. And you come up with
0.727.
0.727, yep. So that's how you do it on the Aleks calculator. If it's a greater than, you have to do 1 minus. If it's a less than, you just do what it says. If it's between two numbers, you do the bigger one. Make sure you do the minus on the outside and then the smaller one. Okay? You're going to be looking up those numbers a lot in the next how many ever weeks of school.